Feels weird doing a get ready with me without my hair rollers in. Welcome back everyone. Today's video is going to be a chatty get ready with me. I'm going to be using some of the makeup products that I mentioned in my recent revisiting my Best of Beauty from 2022. There's a few products in here that I mentioned in last year's favorites videos, like favorites for the year video, that I don't use as much anymore, and I want to give them some second chances. I've also kicked off my makeup collection and declutter series, and a few of these I kept around, but I did say they're on the chopping block. And while I get ready, I'm going to be chatting a little bit about the recent Creators and Friends holiday party that happened last weekend. I started Creators and Friends with my friend and business partner, Simbri, and we were able to host a holiday party for a bunch of creators in my city of Las Vegas. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the party, why we wanted to do it, how it was planning and hosting a party, and some of the shenanigans that we got into in this town. Okay, so I have you zoomed in a little bit more. I had to go run and put my rings on. I hate when I don't have my rings on. It makes me feel naked. It makes me feel naked. It also feels weird to do the get ready with me without my hair and my hair rollers. It's like all my get ready with me's lately, but my hair's clean. My hair's clean. I didn't need to wash it today, so bummer. For my foundation, I'm going to be using the Patrick Ta foundation and powder duo. I'm just going to use a damp sponge. I have one from Ofra that I am going to be using. I mentioned this in my 2020 revisited, and I was like, really? Because again, it's like, I do remember that I liked this foundation. I just don't remember liking it all that much. And I was like, I wonder if I was trying it towards the end of the year where, you know, some things when you first start trying them, they're a little bit fresher. They're a little bit more on the forefront of your mind. Maybe you like them a little bit more. I was like, maybe that was it. But I do remember liking it a lot, just not to put in like a year-end wrap-up video. But that's why I wanted to come back and try it. And when I did my declutter for primers and foundations and concealers and powders, I was like, I am gonna keep this one, but it is gonna go on the chopping block. Now that I'm putting it on though, I am remembering that it was just very easy to apply. It does blend out super quick. That does look nice, huh? I do have more dry skin. That does look nice. Okay. Okay, I'm starting to remember why I liked it. All right, that's looking pretty good. Okay, for my concealer, I'm gonna use the one from Charlotte Tilbury. This is the Radiant Concealer, and I have the shade 5 Medium. One that I have been saying that I still think it's a really good concealer, and I like it. There's just some other concealers that I like even more, and I'm starting to realize there's just, you know, there's just a lot of products like that where it's like, these are still good and these are still like, I would still recommend these. There's just ones that I like even more. I think that's something as I first started getting into like more and more into beauty, I would be like, oh, you know, this foundation is the most amazing one. And then I would try, you know, as I got more into like the YouTube career, like I would try 6 new foundations in 1 month and be like, wait, there is a lot better ones out there. So I remember like when that was starting to happen with my makeup collection, and I was just finding a lot out there that was so good. And I feel like that's kind of what it is now. I know my friend Angie was talking about this in one of her videos, that there's just a lot of good makeup out there now. There's not a lot of really bad releases or a lot of really bad like quality makeup coming out, which is just, you know, speaks for the improvements in everything that goes into manufacturing makeup, right? So there's not a lot of out and out like, this is actually a really crummy product. Not that there's not crummy products out there, because of course there is, but we're seeing makeup be generally better than it has been in years past, which makes sense, right? And one thing that I stress a lot, especially because I do a lot of declutters, I try to keep a more minimalist collection, is that there can be good makeup and great makeup that you don't necessarily have to keep, because you don't have to keep it all. So that's kind of where I'm at now, and I feel like it's getting tougher and tougher as more and more good makeup comes out and more good makeup comes out. You know, and sometimes I get comments of like, you said this was really great, but you're decluttering it. It's like, yeah, I do still think it's really great. I just don't have to keep everything, you know? So that's kind of like where I've been at with my makeup collection. But Charlotte Tilbury looks really nice too. Again, I still feel like, even though right now I like it, I think it looks pretty, it does give the under eyes a more radiant look without being glowy or like highlighting the dark circles. Sometimes with Radiant, concealers, it feels like they're literally like spotlighting your like fine lines and dark circles and all of that, but I think it looks pretty. I just think that I have some other ones that I love even more in my collection. I like to give my concealer a second to like settle before I come in with powder. So this is now usually when I do my brows. I'm just gonna use the Lawless Beauty brow pencil. Like I said, I wanted to chat a little bit about creators and friends as well, because last weekend was so fun. I lost my voice again, per usual. So that's why I have a bit of a raspy voice going on. Even though I lost my voice in October, I had like a sinus cold in October, and I don't think my voice has ever come back from that. But then I do things like where I'm talking the entire weekend, and I'm like, oh, okay, my voice is really never gonna bounce back from that. And also my now business partner, her name is Simbri, or Simbri Thinks on Instagram. A few years ago, we had the idea to go into event planning together. Simbri had actually hosted an influencer holiday party. This would have been in like 2019 in LA, and I went to it, and I had met her prior to that, and then we always just kind of kept in touch. And then I was actually trying to start something in event planning in 2020. I actually started working on it in, I want to say it was either late 2018 or early 2019. I started working on an idea that I had. I brought in some of my friends to help me, Ashley Clady, Makeup Molly, Kelly Gooch, Andrea Matalano. Like, we had like a whole business like plan meeting thing set up to happen in Michigan in March of 2020, and obviously that had to be canceled. Everything that we had been working on had to be canceled because you couldn't be doing anything in person at that time. And I was super bummed about it because I had put, you know, I had put a lot into it. I was really excited for it. One of my backgrounds is in event planning. I went to school for travel and hospitality, and that also, like, we covered a lot under that umbrella. We covered travel, working at resorts, cruise lines. We worked with airlines, and then we also had an event planning section. I went on to work for a wedding planner, and then I also went on to work in event planning at hotels when I lived in Iowa. So that is part of my background, and it's something that I've always been interested in, but never really knew what to do. And then I felt like I saw a space in the community that was missing and thought, why can't I create something? So I was kind of going full steam ahead on that. And then obviously it all got shut down. Everything started to change. Then I was going through a lot in my personal life. And so I just was never able to come back to that original idea that I was working on. Flash forward just a few months later, and speaking with Simbri, we decided to try to start something on our own. And we originally had just thought of doing like a girls trip. That was kind of like our small idea of like, oh, you know, we see a lot of like brand trips, and you know, why can't we do something that's kind of focused more on just the creators and not like a specific brand or a specific launch. You know, a lot of times brand parties happen, or brand trips happen because an eyeshadow palette is being launched, or a collection, or if you're Benefit Cosmetics, a mascara is being launched, and they take a bunch of influencers to a really cool spot and they celebrate the launch of that. So we thought, why can't we do something like that, but have it be focused on more of like the creator connections? And so we had an idea to do a girls trip, and then we thought, well, why can't we think a little bit bigger? And we started to kind of push ourselves into doing a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. And then that eventually turned into our own business, which is called Creators and Friends Events. We want to specialize in retreats, parties, and events specifically for content creators. We are both more in the beauty space. So, you know, of course, a lot of the influencers that we are working with so far are in like beauty, fashion, lifestyle, but of course we would love to be able to expand you know, our database of creators and work with as many people as we can. Our first retreat that we did was in Charleston, and that was last spring, and it was very cool. We had 20 influencers come stay at an Airbnb. We were able to be supported by some brands. Again, kind of our concept with Creators and Friends is to really focus on the creator connections, but being able to bring in some brands, like we had BK Beauty, Sigma Beauty, Ofra Cosmetics, Colourpop Cosmetics, so just to name a few of the brands that, you know, was able to work with us. Being able to work with some brands just allows us to be able to make the experience even better, like BK Beauty did such an amazing job helping us like decorate the house and have some really cool like swag for the creators who attend it. You know, Unearthly Cosmetics and Colourpop hosted a few different activations at the house that the creators were able to take part of, a makeup masterclass, a really beautiful brunch, just things that kind of help us elevate the experiences. So we had such great feedback from all of the attendees from Charleston, and it really made us feel like we were on the right path of doing what we wanted to do. So we have 2 more retreats that are coming up in 2024 that Cimbri and I have been working on and we're really excited for. But one thing that I always say, and I've said it in my videos for such a long time, is like, especially when you enter into this career full time, a lot of it can be very lonely because you're just sitting by yourself, talking to your camera. A lot of our work is done by ourselves in our home offices, through our phones, and you kind of get the social aspect that going to maybe like traditional employment will allow you to. Like for me, I worked in a hospital for several years. The last couple of years of my job, I did work from home, but I would go in every once in a while. I would still be able to go to the potlucks and the holiday parties and things like that. And so I would say that in my videos. And I remember one time just speaking with Cimbri and I said, why don't we throw a holiday party? Like no one has like holiday parties for us. Again, sometimes brands will have something along those lines, but some things that we can notice with brand trips is it's kind of the same people that can invite it over and over again. And something with us that we really hope as we grow and get the word out about our name is that we'll have more creators that will want to be able to attend things, or even just like get on our list so we can let them know when things are happening and things like that. So that's, you know, obviously one of our main goals is to make sure that we stay inclusive and make sure that we're reaching out to as many people as we can. Having new creators being able to get some of these experiences. Even though we might see like a few things here and there, again, we didn't feel like there was anything that was really focused specifically on creator connections. So I was like, how about a holiday party? And that's when we started planning the Vegas holiday party. That powder looks really nice too. So I added it to my under eyes and then just a few areas around the face. Patrick Ta is looking good. I'll admit, the Patrick Ta is looking good. I'm gonna use my Marc Jacobs Omega Tantastic bronzer. So I also did a collection and declutter with bronzers, blushes, highlights, and like face palettes and trios. And I was like, I really wanna use this bronzer more. I have Fit Pan in it. Of course I have, she's a bronzer panning queen. But I want to use it more. Sometimes it's hard, especially in videos, because it's not available. And like, I'll always get a comment of like, no, I'm so sad I can't get that bronzer. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. So I don't use it a ton when I'm gonna be filming, but we're gonna use it today. Holiday party happened last weekend. I believe we had around 55 attendees, which was really exciting for us. We sent so many invites. I mean, well over 100 invites. Maybe over like 200 invites. And we weren't really sure how many people would be able to do it because it was a one-day thing. You know, we invited a lot of people from out of town as well, and that's flights and hotels, and it's holiday time and, you know, winter time, so sometimes traveling is not always the easiest, but we were like, we'll at least throw it out there and see who can make it and who can come. And we were really excited about the response that we got from people and how many people did end up attending the party. I do have a vlog of the weekend that is up now if you want to watch it, and kind of a behind the scenes of what it was like to, you know, plan and host and get everything ready for it. It was so fun for me to have people come to Las Vegas. I love this city so much, so to be able to have so many of my friends here at one time, really wanted to show them a good time and show them why I love living here so much. And I really think that we just had like the best weekend. Above everything was the actual holiday party that happened on Saturday night, and I was getting so many emails from creators talking about how nervous they were, and which absolutely makes sense. Half the time I'm nervous just to go outside because I have social anxiety, right? Like, I was so nervous to go to my first Ipsy and my Gen Beauty and to go to dinners and things like that. It can be very overwhelming, it can be very intimidating, but what I kept saying to everybody, just as someone who's been through it before, who's been super anxious to go to an event and then have done it, and then how I felt afterwards, is I kept saying to them, I really think once you get here and you start to meet people and talk to people, like, you'll see that it's not so scary. Like, the anxiety beforehand is completely normal, all of that. But I think once you get here and you start talking to people, like you'll really see that we're kind of all in the same boat. Like there's a lot of us that were feeling anxiety before the event, and there's a lot of us that felt scared to get out of our little office where we just sit and talk to ourselves and all of that. To me, that's what I really noticed at the party. It was so cool to see people, you know, shaking hands and hugging each other for the first time and introducing themselves to each other that way. There were so many times that I was able to just walk around and see just people talking to each other and smiling and laughing. And yes, I heard like a lot of shop talk and like thumbnails and tags and video ideas and Vlogmas and all of that. But I also heard, you know, what's your family like? Where do you live? Where are you vacationing next? What are you doing in Vegas tonight? Like, when do you leave Las Vegas? Do you want to get lunch tomorrow? Like, those were a lot of conversations that I was hearing too. And it made me so happy because, again, that's our focus, you know, kind of our tagline is being able to foster connections amongst creators in this community. And one thing that I have always said for my channel for so many years is community over competition. I saw a quote today that said something along the lines of hold on, I'm gonna find it because I liked it a lot. Competition happens at the bottom, the people at the top are collaborating. Like I cannot say that any better myself. That's just something that I so firmly believe in. And so to be able to put together something that brings people together in a more collaborative manner is something that's super important to me and something that I really want to put my focus on in 2024. I'm going to use from Iconic London the Rose Glow Duo. I'm going to use the blush side of this. So beautiful. I don't reach for it. I feel like if it was a single blush, I would be reaching for it more, but since it's the duo, I don't as much. I was talking in a recent Get Ready With Me too about kind of my plans for 2024 and what I want the year to look like. And one thing that I do want to focus on is community. I work a lot in Las Vegas with a business here that does events for Vegas locals. I've started to host some of those things, which I really enjoy working on those. We have Creators and Friends with Simbury, which is focused on creators. And I also want to do things for my online community. I'm hosting another Vegas retreat in March. It'll be March 8th through the 10th. So if anyone wants to come out to Vegas for that time, I'll have something set up for us that includes like dinners and a show and spa day and shopping and brunch and things like that. And I'm just really looking forward to doing more things in that space. Again, it's something that is a background of mine and something that I have been interested in doing for a long time. And when I really sat down with myself, you know, I lost my dog in October, and now I'm single with no kids, no dog, a flexible job, and it was kind of like, well, what do I do next? Like, you know, like it was exciting to think about and to think about how many options I have, but it was kind of overwhelming at the same time because I was like, I don't know, like, what do I do? And one thing that I kept coming back to was the community sense, how these events make me feel when I plan them, host them, attend them. And so that was something that I really wanted my focus to be, something that I'll be pouring a lot into in 2024, and it makes me super excited. Again, we have 2 retreats with Creators and Friends, hopefully 2 one-day parties in between there. I have the Vegas retreat so far, and I want to be able to do something in the fall as well, somewhere outside of Las Vegas, and then a whole bunch of events that I do with the Vegas locals here. And it's so fun for me. Really special to see people come together, whether it be the girls that live in Las Vegas that want to be able to do these fun things and go to these fun places, but don't feel comfortable going alone or don't necessarily feel safe going alone. And then it's fun for me to be able to do this with the creators who might not get that opportunity to meet each other in person, but we're giving them a space to be able to do just that. And then it's fun for me to do something for my online community. A couple weeks I'm going to Ireland with some of my online community, and that's just going to be so epic. And that's a chance, whether it be Ireland, whether it be Vegas or somewhere else, especially for women, that is something that's always been a focus of mine as someone who's been through a lot as a young girl, as a teenager, as a young woman, as someone in her 30s. I really try to focus on empowering females. It's something I've always tried to do through my books and then now through my social media. To be able to go with a group of women who are all kind of going through our own things, and we kind of all decided to do this Ireland trip for our own reasons. giving them a community to be able to travel with, and a safe space and a support group to be able to travel with and explore and adventure with and make these memories with. That to me is what is really important right now. And I wouldn't necessarily have been able to go this all in the past, especially obviously when my dog was battling cancer. Like, I wasn't doing much of anything besides helping her. But now I do have that freedom and flexibility to look into something that involves more travel, something that involves, you know, me physically being there and setting things up or being on the trips as well. I'm now able to do that. So even though, you know, it obviously hurts very much that I don't have my dog anymore in my life, you have to try to find like the silver linings and the positives to focus on. And for me, that is being able to jump into new business avenues and be able to really give them my all. And that they involve traveling is just like so much fun for me as well. Like, being able to get out and about and also have that as a part of my business, and being able to make connections in so many different ways, just has me really excited. Okay, short break. I just always still get sad about my dog. I also have this like flyaway hair that's just like doing its own thing this whole time, but it's fine. We'll take the hair out of the ridiculously large scrunchie at the end. I'm gonna use Not a Box of Chocolates from Colourpop. This was my favorite palette from 2022, so I thought it would be fun to pull in for this theme video today. But to touch on, again, just going back to the holiday party, it brought me so much joy. I think I talked for like 18 minutes at the end of my vlog, and I was trying to do my best to like cut myself in editing, because I was like, I think you're just saying the same thing. And I feel like you could just tell, because I filmed that on Sunday night, or Sunday night or afternoon, can't remember, but that I was just still like so excited by how everything went down. Like, I was just still so happy, like I couldn't shut up. So that's just who I am. But it was so nice to see. And then being able to get the feedback. That was our first one-time event, and especially with it being in Las Vegas, you know, I was, you know, obviously this is where I live, so I was able to find like the venue. I was able to find the companies that you know, brought us like our charcuterie board and donuts, and we had someone there doing like the permanent jewelry, like the bracelets and all of that. I definitely felt like a sense of like, I can't mess this up, because I feel like it's going to be on me. I never think that my partner would actually think that, or anyone would think that. It's something that I like put on myself of like, this has to be a success, especially because I was not able to go to Charleston, and I hold guilt for that. But again, so I was supposed to leave Sunday morning for Charleston. I was supposed to leave my dog with my girlfriend Ashley Saturday night. My dog got diagnosed with cancer that Friday. That Friday. So, and she was given 3 days to live. So, and she was so sick. Like that Saturday night, like I did have to call. I called the ER at about 2 a.m. that Saturday night, and was just, you know, she was just so sick. And they said, well, you can bring her in, but there's only one thing we can do. So obviously I could not have, one, left my dog, or two, just like left her with anybody to be like, here, you deal with it. You figure it out. She's sick. She gets sick all over your apartment. Oh, well. If you think she's sick, like, you call the doctor. Like, I mean, I could not in any way, shape, or form have done that. And when I called Simbury on Friday, she cried with me. Every creator and every brand that we worked with was obviously so understanding, but the timing was just, there's no good time for any of that to happen. But that was really hard. So it was definitely, especially because of what happened in 2020, and then having that plan fall apart, and then not being able to go to Charleston, it just, and then obviously just with what was happening with Aries, it just made me feel like, what am I doing? Like, what is the point of even, you know, it was obviously I was going through a hard time, but it was like, what is the point of even trying? Like, something bad is always going to happen, whether it be a global pandemic, whether it be your dog dying of cancer. Like, my mental health was obviously not great for a long time there. It's still not great. If you can't tell, it's we're still not thriving, but we are surviving. So there's that. I felt so bad that Simbri had to do all of Charleston herself. Like, I was doing as much as I could from my phone, but still, like, not being there, not being able to set things up, not being able to greet people, not being able to tear down, not being able, I mean, because when Simbri and I do these, we're not there as attendees. We're not there to like have fun. We're there to like make sure everything goes smoothly and everything looks good. And you know, I barely can remember the holiday party because I was just all over the place, like running around everywhere. So I just felt so horrible that I wasn't able to be there. So I think I put a lot of pressure on myself to make sure Vegas came off in a good way, as almost like to make up for the fact that I couldn't be in Charleston. I'm definitely super happy with the feedback that I have seen come in and how happy people were. And one thing that I heard from multiple people, either like at the party or we had like a little after party as well. One thing that I heard multiple times, which made me super happy, was how welcoming just everybody in the space was. That was one of the main things that I kept hearing, of people being like, everyone was just such a welcoming crowd. And you know, I can remember one gal that I was talking to, and you know, she said the sweetest things, but she was like, Samantha, you're a very welcoming person, and you're someone who, you know, obviously cares about community and bringing people together. And she said, so you've attracted those kind of people at this party and at these events. And that was really kind of her to say, and I really appreciate that. Obviously to me too, it's everybody that was there that, you know, a lot of people were uncomfortable and nervous and anxious, and they were able to push through and go up to someone and say, hi, I've watched your channel, I love this video that you do, or hi, what's your name? My name is this. Like, that's really hard to do. As someone who has social anxiety and who's an introvert, the hardest thing for me to do is to just walk up to someone and say hello. That's super challenging. If I know you, I can talk your ear off, and if I'm comfortable with you, I'll talk to you for an hour. But if I don't know you, that is really, really difficult for me to do. And I know one thing that I've been told, and this is something that I've been told since like my college days, is that sometimes I actually come off as like unapproachable, or of course, you know, being a female is like, you're bitchy, because I'm quiet. And because it's hard for me to approach people in those situations, so people just assume I'm like standoffish or something like that. And it's something that I think about often when I find myself in like social events and I'm not doing anything or going up to anybody. I'm like, Samantha, they're going to think you're mean, they're going to think that you're rude, or you don't care about anyone else. Like, you have to at least try to go up to someone, but it's hard. So for everyone that was able to do that at the party, for everyone who came by themselves, traveled by themselves, walked into that event by themselves, maybe reached out to someone beforehand to be like, hey, do you, like, I hate walking in places alone. I hate it. I hate it so much. It gives me so much anxiety to walk into a place alone. I hate it. So to reach out to someone and be like, hey, I see that you're going too, or like, you're in Vegas, are you going to the party? Do you want to go together? Like, kudos to you. That's so huge because it's so hard to do. Well, I was definitely so inspired by so many of the attendees that came, pushed themselves out of their comfort zone. We had a lot of people that traveled really long ways to be able to go. And I really sincerely hope that it was worth it. I hope that it was worth the travel. I hope that it was worth, you know, feeling nervous before the event. And one thing that I will say is that after the actual party, I had some tables set up at Gatsby's, which is a like cocktail lounge in Resorts World. It's one of my favorite places. If you come to Las Vegas, you should definitely go. And I just threw it out there, you know, to the party once we were wrapping up. I was like, if anyone wants to go, like, this is an option. Thinking like not a lot of people are gonna wanna go, or people are just gonna wanna go home. You know, the party went until 10. So I was like, people probably just wanna leave. We had like 32 people come to Gatsby's. And I really think, and I said this in the vlog and I had multiple people confirm it in the comments, like, to me, I think it was because people were having so much fun with each other that they didn't want to leave. Like, they wanted to keep being able to hang out with each other. How great is that? Like, how freaking great is that? And so again, I go back to like why Simbri and I started this in the first place, was to create those connections. And there was a moment, Simbri and I were giving speeches at we were speeches. We were just saying like, thanks for coming. She was speaking and I was just kind of looking around, and I was looking around at like, wow, we did this. Like we really did this. And it was funny to me because there was a certain point where I actually said that to Simbri. And when we were talking about it the next day, she was like, it kind of made me chuckle when you were like, oh, like we did it. She goes, but then I remember like, you didn't get that feeling in Charleston. You know, she was able to get that feeling because she was physically there, and she could see it and she could feel it, you know, even more than what you watch in the vlogs or what you hear like in the posts and things like that. Like, you know, she could feel the like community spirit there, whereas I didn't get to experience that, and I got to experience that in Vegas. So I don't know, it made me super happy. And we had so many creators that asked if we would do a holiday party next year as well. And you know, of course, like I said, this was just our first one, so we wanted to see how it went, and if people even liked it, if people would even want to go. I mean, we didn't know if anyone would go. Like, I mean, we truly didn't. Like, even when we decided like the Charleston, and then we decided to do the next trips, like, do people want to go? Because the creators are paying for it, you know? Even like the Charleston and the New Orleans, like, it's not a brand trip. We're not flying people out. We're not setting them up in their accommodations. They are paying for it because Simbri and I can't front 20 people to go to Charleston, you know what I mean? That the creators are paying for on their own. So it's like, maybe people don't want to do that. But we were really excited with the feedback that we got, and we would definitely love to do more like single day, you know, special events as well, in addition to the retreats, especially because that way it opens up being able to invite more people. You know, the space that we had, I think it could hold up to like 200 people or something like that. So versus if we do something like an Airbnb, and if we're doing something for a longer weekend, it's harder. The more and more people you get, the harder and harder it is. Especially in a little bit more intimate setting, like a vacation style like that. So we love the idea of being able to have these one-day events and just being able to invite more people. It is definitely something that we will be putting our focus on going forward. But again, we're a new business. Simbri and I have been in the influencer space for many years, but the business is pretty brand new, and I'm excited to keep growing and expanding it. If you're a creator, if you want to get on our database so we can let you know about any of the future events that we are doing, make sure to follow the Creators Friends Events Instagram. You can always DM us. Make sure to also leave your email address, because when we have future activities and events, I will start emailing, or I'll also put it on the social media. And you know, that's what we did last time. We just put it on Instagram. It was like, if you want to go, or if there's anyone you think might want to be invited, like, let us know, and we are happy to invite. You know, right now we're kind of focused, just because it's our niches as well, in like beauty and fashion and lifestyle, but we're always happy to open it up to anyone. The goal is to be inclusive, not only to different niches, but you know, one thing that we were hearing quite a bit is like, I don't think I have a big enough following to be invited. That's not something that we're looking at, or how we decided who was going to be invited. You know, obviously we do want to make sure that you are a content creator. That is something that is necessary, because that's the focus of the business. And that we just want people to be able to feel welcome and to make those connections that they might not otherwise get the chance to. So please definitely reach out to us if you want to be notified of upcoming events. And a big thank you to everyone who came out to Las Vegas and made this such a special time. I personally am just super thrilled with how it went down. Though I am definitely very tired, I'm still trying to bounce back from everything, but it still was just so special. I was able to make some connections too. I was able to meet people that I've known for several years, that I've even worked with for several years, but I've never actually met in person. I think especially after 2020 and being, you know, kind of taken away from being able to just, well, obviously even just like walk outside, but I think for a long time, I mean, obviously I want to say like you take something like that for granted, like being able to just go see family or see your neighbors or see your coworkers or travel or anything like that. I think after 2020, it made people understand even more how valuable in-person connections can be. and it's what makes me excited to keep going in all of the different avenues that I'm focusing on when it comes to more community events. So yeah, that is a little bit about Creators and Friends and why we started it and what we have coming up in the future and why I'm so excited for it. Like I mentioned, if you're interested in the Las Vegas retreat that will be happening in March, I'm gonna have a group chat on Instagram where I'll be doing like all of the details, and I wanted to do that because I've noticed through the events that I've been working on that that's kind of a good way for people to also be able to chat with one another. You know, some of the trips that I have coming up, like people have even been able to find like roommates that way, that sort of thing. Just be able to talk with each other back and forth, kind of get to know each other. One thing that I like to do that I did before Ireland is that we've had live Zoom calls with each other. I want to do that for Las Vegas as well. It just, again, kind of gives us an opportunity to get to know each other and see each other's faces and all that before we actually go, you know, experience the trip together. So I am March Beauty Word on Instagram, and I will be starting that group chat very shortly. I said I was going to do it over the weekend. I was like, why would I say that? Like, I knew how busy I was going to be over the weekend. I was barely posting anything at all. But I will have the group chat going, and then the link with the sign up and all of that. So if you are interested in coming in Vegas in March, I feel like that's going to be here before we know it. I like the eye look with the Not a Box of Chocolates. Just love a good brown gold moment. I'm going to use the Tower 28 mascara. I want to love this as much as everybody else does. I had this in my recent speed reviews video. Like, I want to love it too. I just don't really. But honestly, all I'm doing today is filming videos, editing videos, and all of that. So I'm like, it's okay if my mascara doesn't look completely on fleek or transfers on me, because I'm just gonna be chilling at home. But that's really everything that I wanted to go through. So thank you for listening to me. It feels exciting to look forward to the future. There was a long time there, especially when my dog was like first diagnosed, that it was just kind of like, what is there to look forward to without having her here? There was also definitely that guilt of like, as I get excited for what opportunities I have now, I feel guilty because I'm like, but I don't have her. But obviously, I mean, I can't control that. Like, I can't control that she had cancer. I did everything that I could. I mean, I did everything that I could during her cancer journey to, one, help prolong her life, but also make sure she had a good quality of life. And I know I haven't really talked a lot about like her actual passing because obviously I can't. But the way that everything happened actually has me very much at peace, and I know with everything in me that my dog was not in pain. I know that she didn't suffer, and that makes me, you know, so grateful. And I'm grateful that I could be there with her for those 5 months and just pour everything into her. Obviously, like, there's some guilt when it comes to that too, of like, look, I mean, I'm sure people have probably experienced this with like loss of loved ones, and then like you smile and laugh for the first time or realize you're having a good time, and you're like, wait, how can I be having a good time if they're not here with me? So that's been hard. I'm not someone who's dealt with a lot of loss or death in life. So I wouldn't say that I've handled it the best, but I've been trying to do the best that I can. And it definitely feels really nice to have so many things to be able to look forward to, especially work related, because I love work. I love working, and obviously like I choose everything that I do. I'm fully self-employed and an entrepreneur, so like I choose everything that I'm doing. So not to say that I don't have hard days or days where I'm like, girl, this the career path you chose. Like, I definitely have those days, but it makes me really excited that I have so many fun things to look forward to. Actually, I kind of want to use my Summer Fridays lip balm because I haven't used this in a minute, and I set it out. All of my 2022 lips, like, I still love and I use all the time, so I think I actually want to do this one in a little bit of a darker lip. I'm going to use my Dana lip liner from Natasha Denona, but I do have to sharpen it. Okay, going in with Dana. Then adding the Summer Fridays lip balm in Brown Sugar on top. Like this is a very fall look and it feels like spring in Vegas today. I've been able to walk outside again in the mornings. For a while there, it was so chilly I was having to go to the gym. The last like what, 2 or 3 days I've been walking outside. I've been doing afternoon walks after lunch. Today I was walking in shorts. It was like 75 degrees outside. Say less. I know it's about to get cold again, but like whatever. And I'm about to be in Ireland and real cold, but it's fine. That is going to wrap it up for today's look using some of my favorites from 2022, talking about creators and friends and what's coming up for me in 2024. Before we go, and if you've made it this far, there's a giveaway in this video. I have been doing Santa Sam for the 12 days of Vlogmas, so I've been doing a daily giveaway. All of the giveaways are open for the full 12 days, so you can always go back and find day 1, day 2. Sometimes they're on YouTube, on Instagram, or also on my TikTok. So I do have an Instagram highlight that has all of them as well, because there is an individual form that you fill out each day for all of the different giveaways. For today is always one of my favorite prizes because it's a you choose. So this is where a winner gets to choose one product. It can be beauty related, not beauty related, doesn't matter, but one product, and I will buy that for you and Santa Sam will ship it out over to you. So there will be a form in the description box. I just ask, make sure you are subscribed here on YouTube, leave a hashtag Santa Sam comment on the video, and then in that form, when you fill it out, you will put on there what product it is that you want. If you want something that has like a particular color, shade, size, anything like that, make sure to leave that as well, because I will just buy it from the form. I'll email all of the winners to let you know that you have won, and I will be sending out the prizes before I leave for Ireland. I leave the day after Christmas. So my goal is to get all the prizes out. Again, all the giveaways are open the full 12 days, so there's still time to enter days, I don't know when this is going up, but to enter the first few days of Santa Sam. So thank you all so much for your support over this year and over holiday season. It really means so much. I hope Santa Sam is helping bring a little bit of joy to your lives as well, and I'll see you in the next one.